Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Mike. Today we're going to talk about power steering systems. We have a very noisy pump on this vehicle, so we're going to learn to inspect, test, flush and bleed the system. Let's get started. So today we're working on a 2007 GMC truck with a 4.3 motor. We've determined the pump is fairly noisy, but let's do a full inspection. And to do this, the engine must be off. We'll check the belt to make sure it's not cracked or contaminated with oil. At the same time, we'll make sure the fluid in the reservoir is to the proper level. We'll also check the power steering line, the pressure line, and the return line, and the rack and pinion system to see if we can spot any leaks. If there's a power steering fluid leak, air can get in the system, and that's usually a common cause of a noisy pump. We've all heard this noise before, and we've already inspected the fluid, so we know the pump is bad. We'll have to install a replacement. So we've just removed our old pump. Before we go on to install the new pump, we need to explain that the manufacturer builds a little bit of an end play in every pump, and that's to enable the pulley to align with the serpentine belt. So your new pump will also have a little bit of an end play, and that's normal. Now, let's go on and install our new pump. We've installed our new pump. Now it's time to fill the reservoir. But before we do so, we need to understand that the power steering system is a closed loop system, and we broke it open by changing the pump. Therefore, there's air in the system. Whether you replace a hose, a rack, or a gear, there's going to be air in the system, and the idea is to get the air out as quickly as we can to prevent us from damaging the pump upon startup. To demonstrate this, we've teed into the pressure line with a flow meter and a pressure gauge. We're going to fill up our pump, we're going to start the engine, and we're going to show you exactly what happens. The first step is to flush the system. I've disabled the engine from starting and disconnected the return line to the pump. I'm going to crank the engine over, pushing the old contaminants out through the return line. Once I see clear power steering fluid coming through, I'll reconnect the hose to the pump and we'll continue with our installation. So we just finished our flush, and you can see how critical this process is to get clear power steering fluid through the system. Start it up, Craig. We've also primed our pump, and you saw the flow meter rise. Now I've reconnected the line to the reservoir. We're going to crank the engine, go lock to lock 10 times to get the air out of the system. You see the bubbles in the power steering fluid? That's the air we're trying to get out. We're going to run the wheels lock to lock to finish bleeding the system. We can see from the flow meter that we have proper flow in the system. We can also see on the pressure meter that the pressure is normal, and when we put the wheels to lock, that the bypass valve is working properly in the pump. I've disconnected the tester and checked the fluid level in the reservoir. The next step is to vacuum bleed the system and get the remaining air out. This is our last step. I will pull 18 to 20 inches of vacuum to remove the remaining air in the system, and this will ensure a quiet and trouble-free installation. So we finished our truck installation. Here's our old pump with the reservoir attached. We've pulled in this vehicle to show you that in some cases the reservoir is remote. In these cases, we highly recommend replacing the reservoir. We've cut this one open to show you there's a filtration system here that catches the debris coming from deteriorating hoses as time goes on. Therefore, installing a new reservoir ensures a longer lasting pump. Let's do a quick recap. In the inspection process, check the belt for cracks or oil. Check the fluid condition and level. Check the lines for leaks. Every system must be flushed. Always install a new remote reservoir if applicable. And most important, vacuum bleed the system every time a line is opened.